Well, I thought I'd make an ear warmer today and show you how it's done on your Addi King. The first thing we're going to do is cast on and knit 5 rows of a waste yarn in a contrasting color so that we can see. The next step will be to add our main color yarn, in my case pink, and knit 52 rows. We'll be folding this over to cover a little bit more than our ears. And as you can see that the counter on my Addi doesn't work, so I use a thumb counter, and I marked one of the red hooks right before the black needle with a sticker, so every time I could see that come around I will click on the clicker. And my Addi isn't mounted, so it does slide all over and my tension is off a little bit because of that. But this is really just to show you how to do it. I would definitely have my machine mounted if I was going to make this as a gift. So now that we've finished off the 52 rows, we're going to cast off with the yarn needle. If you drop a stitch, grab the crochet hook and just weave them right back up. So we just keep going all the way around, and you have to have a contrasting color so that you can see your stitches, so when we graft them together it'll be much easier to find. It goes pretty quick. I have sped this up as fast as the video will let me, but we're almost done with it, and then we can get on to the grafting. Alright, at the grafting you will start at the end of where you cast it on and knit your 5 rows and move over 1 stitch from the pink tail so we don't pull the tail out as we're going along. And this is very simple, and you obviously do not need as much yarn as I have for the sewing the grafting together. So once I will zoom in so we can show this to you a lot better. But all you're going to do is just move over 1 stitch and go back to the one you came from. So always move over 1 stitch and go back to the one you came from. Okay, see the 5 rows of waste yarn down to the back where you came from on the other row. Always, it's very simple, just move over 1 and go back to where you came from on the other row. Okay, again, just move over 1. This is why you need the contrasting yarn, so you can see your stitches. Very easy. And you just go back into the one you came from. You move over 1 more, go back to the one where you came from, and I'll show you how to do it slower. Move over 1, go back to where you came from. See, this is the previous row, and that's the one you want to go into. Just pull your yarn through, move over to the next stitch, and you can see how easy it is to see because we have the contrasting yarn, and you're going to go back up to the one you came from. So here we go. Pull your yarn through. The next one will be over 1, and then we're going to go back down to where we came from. There you go, and just pull through. And this is what we do all the way around. Just go over 1 and then back up to the one, oh, don't split your yarn, and back up to the one you came from. See? Always. Very easy. Once you get the hang of it, it will go so fast. If you just remember that you just need to go over 1 stitch and then bring it back to the where you came from. And just slide it in, and we're going to go over. It's so easy to see the stitches when you use a good contrast So you're going to go into this loop, and then we're going to go back up to the previous row where we came from, and then you'll move over another stitch, and you go back to where you came from. So here's where we're done. We stretch it out, and we're going to tie off the yarn that we were grafting with. Just a loose. Don't tie it so it pulls the stitches tight. And then we're going to just trim off the extra here. And we'll weave our yarn needle. As you can see, this is why I like it. You just separate it and it goes right through. And then we're going to go right down the middle of the stitches that we were grafted together. Go in the middle. Now you can probably see it a little bit better. Just go down the middle, bring the needle down to about halfway, pull it, grab your yarn, give it a little bit of a tug so that knot can drop down, and trim, pull, stretch, and it's now inside the 2 layers. Now you can leave it as that and have a border, or I like to just put it in the middle and turn it right side out so that it's all finished looking. You do not feel that. It's so soft. It stretches. Oh, I gotta remove this little piece of yarn from the cast on. And there you go. Now you can be, decorative. If you like duplicate stitch before you graft, you could always duplicate stitch on it. You could add stripes. You can do almost anything with it. This piece of variegated in between for an interesting detail. And I measured it out just for reference, and what I have here is when I stretch it, it goes to 13. So you got more than a 26 circumference to go. It's not obviously going to be super loose or super tight, but it all depends on your head. But there you go. There's the finished one. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me.